Recording in progress. Good evening. Whether you're here in person or joining us online, welcome to First Parish in Concord. I'm Reverend Seth Carrier-Ladd, your interim senior minister. My pronouns are he, him. I want to offer a special welcome to any of our friends who are joining us, either in person or online, from First Parish in Lincoln. This year, we are welcoming members and friends from First Parish in Lincoln to this evening's service, and they are hosting us tomorrow evening. So you are warmly invited to attend the Good Friday service at First Parish in Lincoln tomorrow evening at 7. A final welcome to everyone to this, our Maundy Thursday service. We will be offering communion as part of this service. Please know that our table is open and that all are welcome to participate. Folks participating at home on Zoom, hopefully you have your own bread and juice ready for when the time comes. Our COVID precautions are that we mask at all times. Oh no, this is old, that's from last year. We don't mask at all times in this space. That's funny. I didn't catch that. The masks are optional throughout our space, and we encourage you to use masks as you see fit to keep yourself safe. We also use air filters and ventilation to improve air quality. However you are joining us this evening, thank you for coming. We're glad you're here.
These words adapted from Hans Holznagel. From our routine weekday lives, we pause this hour, gathered as friends from 2 congregations, to remember the last earthly night of Jesus with his disciples. May we listen for God's invitations to personal discipleship and service, to communion with one another and with the Holy One. Come, let us worship together. I invite you all to rise in body or spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn, number 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door.
I invite you now to read with me our unison chalice lighting words written by Gary Kowalski. With faith to face our challenges, with love that casts out fear, with hope to trust tomorrow, we accept this day as the gift it is, a reason for rejoicing.
Our first reading comes from the book of Mark. On the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, when the Passover lamb was sacrificed, the disciples said to Jesus, "Where do you want us to prepare for you to eat the Passover meal?" He sent 2 of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the city. A man carrying a water jar will meet you. Follow him. Wherever he enters, say to the owner of the house, 'The teacher asks, where is my guest room where I can eat the Passover meal with my disciples?' He will show you a large room upstairs, already furnished. Prepare for us there." The disciples left, came into the city, found everything just as he had told them, and they prepared for the Passover meal. That evening, Jesus arrived with the 12. During the meal, Jesus said, "I assure you that one of you will betray me, someone eating with me." Deeply saddened, they asked him one by one, "It's not me, is it?" Jesus answered, "It's one of the 12, one who is dipping bread with me into this bowl. The human one goes to his death just as it is written about him. But how terrible it is for that person who betrays the human one. It would have been better for him if he had never been born." Thus concludes our reading.
Please join me now in reading our unison prayer of confession together. If the words on the screen are too small, it is also in your order of service. O God, you invite us to root ourselves in your love and mercy. Instead, we chase the gods of money, prestige, convenience, and even our own egos. We hear your call to serve others, but this too impinges on our comforts and desires for ourselves. We have come to believe there is not enough and therefore must hold on to what we have, ever grasping for more. We have forgotten that all things come from you. In you there is more than enough. Forgive us our conceit, fear, and selfishness. Remind us that our lives find meaning in your presence and in service to others.
Dear God, we know that you are love and that nothing can separate us from your love. Where we have erred, we have responded with contrition. We vow also to respond by making amends where we can. Let us rest in the assurance that this is enough. This is enough, for we know that your love is with us equally on our worst days and on our best. May we know that we are loved, that we are good enough, that we are whole just the way we are, with blessed imperfections that make us the learning, growing, and evolving beings we are.
Last minute shift change of Tuesday likely saved his life. However, less is known about the second survivor. Richardson is not part of their construction team. At Wednesday night's press conference, Maryland's governor, Moore, said he still survived, narrowly escaped flood.
Our second reading is from Mark chapter 14, verses 22 to 25. While they were eating, Jesus took bread, blessed it, broke it, and gave it to them, and said, "Take, this is my body." He took a cup, gave thanks, and gave it to them, and they all drank from it. He said to them, "This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many. I assure you that I won't drink wine again until that day when I drink it a new way in God's kingdom." Here ends our second reading. So, I lived in Philadelphia for 7 years in my 20s. This would be 15 to 20 years ago at this point. I'm getting old. Happens, I hear. And what was happening the evening in question was that I had something, I don't actually remember what it was, but I had something I needed to drop off at one of my friends' house. I was not staying, I just needed to run up, be there for a minute, right, and come back down. And if you've ever lived in Philadelphia, you know that parking can be a kind of pain in the, a pain in the butt, let's just say that. And I swear I drove around for like 15 minutes trying to find a spot within any sort of reasonable distance of my friend's apartment. And finally I thought, here's a spot. And here was the thing. It was, and this is somewhat unique to Philly in my experience, but a lot of the houses the row houses have garages in the first floor, right? It's like part of the house. And so I came across a spot where there was construction in front of the garage. There was scaffolding, right? Because they were doing construction. And so I was like, oh, well, the owner clearly isn't going to be pulling into this driveway because there's scaffolding. I can just park here for 5 minutes and run in and run back, and I'll be good. And so I did that, and of course, my friend didn't just say, oh, thank you, and goodbye. Like, we chatted for a minute or two. And so I think it was 10 minutes, maybe, by the time I got back to my car. And as I got back, I saw a little piece of white paper tucked under the windshield wiper, and I was like, oh, shoot. It's not actually what I said, but I said, oh, shoot. And I went down, but as I got closer, it was really fascinating. It wasn't a ticket shape. It was about this size, like half of a sheet of paper. And I was like, I wonder what that is. And so I pulled it out, and on it was printed, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, but from the owners of 324 Putnam Street. Dear police officers, our driveway is under construction. Please do not ticket this vehicle. This is the only place we can park. Yeah. And I was just like blown away, right? So clearly what had happened was that the owners of this building had come back to park in their spot in front of their driveway to find my vehicle there. And I mean, I don't know if they were upset or not, but they had the grace and goodness in their hearts to put one of their signs on my vehicle so that I didn't get a ticket. And it just, to this day, that the goodness and the grace and the kindness of that act blows me away. Now, I would like to think that if the situations were reversed, that I would be that kind, but I don't think that that's the reality, probably. And it may be the impact of me having 4 young kids right now, and like the idea of having to like park so far away and drag them back, multiple blocks and all that would be hard. But even so, like I think I would be irritated and maybe mad and frustrated, and maybe my best choice would be to do nothing, right? That would be the best version of what would happen in that scenario if it was me finding the person's car, maybe cursing under my breath. But to do something kind for me for that person in that situation is a choice, right? That person made a conscious choice. It would have been easy to be irritated, and maybe they were a little irritated, but it would have been easy just to move on, right? And instead they made a choice to do something kind for a stranger, to try and keep the other person from getting a ticket. And so the connection I'm drawing this evening with our other topic matter of the story of the Last Supper is that Jesus also made a choice, right? He knew that he was going to face betrayal. And there's lots of ways he could have chosen to respond. He could have been upset. He could have tried to figure out who it was. He could have done any number of things. And that is not what Jesus chose. Jesus chose to sit down together in community and break bread and share a meal and drink wine. He chose love and kindness. And so that is what my invitation is to us this evening, is to choose love. Not turn the other cheek kind of love, not sacrificial love, but to consider how many times we have a choice about how we want to respond. Especially when faced with thoughtlessness or rudeness or ignorance, we have a choice. And sometimes the most loving response is indeed to say, no, that kind of behavior is not okay. Sometimes, though, when it would be easy to respond to pettiness with pettiness. Sometimes when no one would blame you for being upset. Sometimes it brings grace and healing and love to the world to choose to respond with love. And so it is this evening that we will soon remind ourselves that the choice to be in community, the choice to break bread together, to drink juice, is the choice to remind ourselves of the power of choosing love, of choosing to be together, of choosing hope in the face of darkness. Friends, as modeled by the kindness of that unknown Philadelphian whose house I parked in front of, and by the choice of Jesus to choose love and community, may we too choose love. May we too choose community. May we too choose hope in the face of darkness. Amen.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Please join me in singing hymn number 406, Let Us Break Bread Together.
In case you were wondering, we are not going to ask you to get on your knees to eat the bread and drink the juice. And so we come to our invitation to communion. On that night, Jesus was gathered with his disciples. As they were eating, Jesus took the bread and blessed and broke it. And he gave it to his disciples and said, "Take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you." Then he took the cup and gave thanks, and gave it to them, saying, "This is the cup of life poured out for you. When you gather, do this in remembrance of me." Elizabeth and I will now distribute the bread and the cup. It is our tradition to eat the bread when you receive it, and to wait when you receive the cup, so that we may all partake together. Please stay seated as the bread and cup are brought to you. All are welcome. The table is open.
This evening, our prayer of thanksgiving is adapted from the words of Michelle L. Torisian. Loving God, source of all that is good, into this space of sharing, connected in space and time, we give thanks for the opportunity to commune with the moving Spirit and with our neighbor. May the love that we experience tonight through bread and cup Open our hearts to the beauty, pain, and joy across our world. May this sacrament move us to offer our neighbors our love. And may our time at the table we share remind us of the ones who are forever in our hearts. Amen.
Friends, I invite you now to pass the peace and greet your neighbors. Peace be with you. Let us rise now in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, number 265, O Sacred Head Now Wounded. Friends, even though we extinguish our chalice in this moment, we can never extinguish the light, the love, and the hope that that flame represents. As we depart from this sacred space today, let us carry the hope, the love, and the goodness that Jesus brought to the world. May we carry it with us and share it with others as we work to make the world a better place. Let's join now in saying our closing words of benediction. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Go and be blessed and be a blessing. Amen.